Today I want to talk about being alone, completely alone, away from everything, and why it's such an issue on some fronts for some people, and what I think is one of the biggest feelings that people run into when they think of loneliness, when they think of being alone. I think that one of the biggest struggles for people is when they sit there and they're like, damn, no one's going to help me. There's no one here. I'm in the situation. I have to struggle through this by myself. And the task or whatever the thing is feels impossible to get over. And what I'll say to that is that unfortunately is a part of life. And it's a scary part of life where there are just some things, some moments, sometimes where there is no one else to back you and you do have to make your own choices. Now, that doesn't mean that no one is ever going to help you ever. And that doesn't mean that people don't want to help and that people don't care necessarily. It just means that there are things that you're going to have to make the choices for. And when you need help and when you're in a position where you're not mentally okay, making the right choice becomes all that more difficult, right? So it could just be that maybe somebody does got to look out for you. And if you don't get that help, you never know what could happen, right? I just ended up wanting to make this video because I was thinking to myself, like, I sat down, I looked at everything, and I'm like, dude, like, there is not a single soul who is going to help me with certain situations. There's nobody coming to save me. There's no one coming to like magically fix my problems and issues and life. And the only way forward is for me to succeed and for me to not let the negative voices and negative feelings win and overcome that. And that's all there is. It's all about me against the world, me against the negativity, me against these things, right? And again, like I'll say, that feeling is just so scary because you're like, damn, like I really got to do this by myself, and really you don't. Maybe you'll find people out there who really care and they're willing to try and help you through something, but I think oftentimes the reality is, if you're not at a stage where you have to deal with it alone, eventually you'll have to deal with things and learn to cope with them by yourself. And because of that attitude that I've kind of developed around things and around the way that things are going, I'm kind of like, you know what? Like, I don't want to put myself in a position to be someone who feels like they need to rely on other human beings. Because to me, like, the reality of life is that crushing loneliness where there is no one else but you. Um, and that can kind of drive people mad. You can get really, perhaps resentful or bitter about it. And I never want to. But just sitting here now, I just realized, like, it's not necessarily a negative thing. It doesn't say anything bad about people, humans, or society. It just kind of is what it is, right? It is a part of life. And learning to manage my expectations for myself and for other human beings, I think, is actually a healthy thing rather than seeing it as doom and gloom, end of the world type scenario where I can't figure out what to do, right? But I can totally see how someone can see it from that perspective. Kind of just a bit of a ramble, but if you are alone and you are struggling, there are ways to get help for dealing with loneliness, dealing with the symptoms of loneliness. But truthfully told, you're going to have to start making some decisions eventually in the positive direction of aiding your life, because you can't have that expectation that something mystical or random is going to come save you, right? Like, nothing is going to come help me right now. Nothing, nobody. And that's okay, right? I got to take things one step at a time, small steps, and figure out, okay, what can I do? What am I able to change right now? And what is the best thing that I can do for myself? And it just feel kind of, it's a bit uncomfortable to like think of it that way of like, man, there's no help, right? Like, it's a bit of an unnerving feeling when you sit down and like you think of all the different things that upset you or perhaps disturb you in different ways, and just it's like wow, like again, it's like what I said in the very beginning, like an insurmountable feeling of like a bunch of different things that you might be worried about. Right, that's like bad. But perhaps you can look at it in a different way. There's all these new challenges that you can begin to overcome one at a time. And my decision is to be as relentless as possible and not let things get in the way, because if I do, right, and here's why I'm really motivated to talk about this is if I do sit there, if I do wait, um I'm not I'm not getting I'll be honest, and I have been like that a lot. It's like I'm not gonna get any sympathy from anyone to like care, you know. I'm just gonna get shit on, which I have, right? It's like you can't sit there and have an expectation that, you know. Anyway, bit of a ramble, but I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.